from Nurturing Motherhood. I work as a postnatal doula, and in my experience, many new parents think they are preparing their baby's formula in a safe way, but actually they're not following the best guidelines and they're potentially putting their babies at risk. So in this video I'd just like to go through the safest way to prepare formula and to talk you through that step by step. Firstly, be sure that your bottles have been washed in hot soapy water and properly sterilised. I've got a separate video that shows you how to do this. Make sure you've got clean hands and a clean work surface that's just been wiped down when you're preparing a bottle. You need to boil at least 1 litre of water in a kettle. That needs to be freshly run water. You mustn't reboil water or use softened water or bottled water to make up formula, because the balance of minerals may be altered and it would be unsuitable for making up formula for your baby. So allow the boiled kettle to cool for a maximum of 30 minutes. This keeps the temperature of the water above 70 degrees C. You've already sterilised your bottles, but milk powder isn't sterile, so you need the water to be above 70 degrees C to kill off any potential bacteria that might be in the powder. So don't make up formula with cooler water, even cooled boiled water, because it won't kill that bacteria. You need to follow the formula manufacturer's guidelines on the packaging very closely. Never add more or less powder to the water than it specifies, because that can lead to dehydration or constipation or malnourishment or an upset tummy. It's commonly 1 level scoop of powder to 1 ounce of water, that's 30 mils of water, but please check the packaging. Be sure to only use the scoop that is supplied with the particular tub of formula that you are using, and use the scraper that's just inside the lid of the box, or a clean knife just to level off the scoop so it's not a heaped scoopful, it's a level scoop. You don't need to pack it down, just a loose level scoop of powder. Add the hot water to your bottle to the correct amount, so that might be 4 ounces. Then straight away measure out the corresponding number of scoops, so probably 4 scoops, and add that directly to the bottle. Screw the lid onto your bottle securely and shake it or swirl it to dissolve the powder until all the lumps are gone. Swirling rather than shaking may help to reduce the presence of air bubbles, which can occasionally exacerbate problems if your baby does struggle with wind or reflux. Before you feed your baby, you need to check that the temperature of the formula is just right. You can do this by dropping a little bit on your inner wrist. That should feel comfortably warm to the touch. You may need to cool the bottle down further before you feed the baby, in which case it's best to hold it under some cool running water or stand it in a jug of cold water for a minute and then check again. If you need to warm milk up, it's best to do that by running it under a hot tap or putting it into a jug of hot water. It's best not to use the microwave because these can cause hot spots in the milk which could burn your baby's mouth. There are machines that make formula to the right temperature quickly without having to boil a kettle. There's mixed opinions on these, but you can look into those and see whether that is something you're interested in. I think it's recommended to get them brand new rather than second hand. When you're going out and about, that's quite a complicated thing with a formula fed baby, because you can't have a kettle to hand all the time. So you can get the little bottles of ready-made formula that are just literally ready to pour into a bottle and then warm up. Those are sterile, so they can be warmed up from cold. Or alternatively, you can take a flask of freshly boiled water and measure out your powder into a clean container, and then take a sealed, sterilised bottle. So then when you're out and about, the flask will have cooled slightly, but is likely to still be above 70 degrees. You can then measure that out into your bottle and add the powder that you've pre-measured, and then shake it up and feed your baby once it's cooled to the right temperature. Please don't ever add sugar or cereals to your baby's bottle. Make sure if your baby hasn't finished the milk that you discard any milk at the end of a feed. Formula milk isn't good for more than an hour or 2 hours maximum at room temperature before the bacteria can begin to multiply. It's not advised to refrigerate leftover formula milk because although bacteria is slower growing in the fridge, it can still multiply. I hope that covers off any questions you might have about preparing formula. There is a fantastic booklet on the UNICEF website that talks through sterilising and making up formula and bottle feeding, which is likely to answer any questions you have in more detail than I've had time to cover today. I hope that's helpful.